Hello and welcome. My name is Mark Rather. I'm UK National Sales Manager for NEC. Within this video, we're doing an introduction to the MyCalls console, which is an application that can work on the SV9100 and the SL2100. But before we get into that live demonstration, there are some talking points which I'm bringing up for you right now in no particular order. So why should you consider a MyCalls console? Well, the first bullet point there, cosmetic reasons. What do I really mean about that? A lot of organizations spend a lot of time and a lot of effort making sure that the receptionist area is a lovely environment to come into. It's very welcomely. Obviously, a receptionist that is there to meet and greet. It's all about first impressions. Now, before we had software, we could have a handset and we could have some additional units against that handset, what we call DSS consoles, that allowed the receptionist to see visibility of all the extensions across the business when they're on the phone, off the phone, if they got a call forward, etc., etc. But it was quite a big piece of equipment. When you can have 4 units plus your handset, it's something like you'd see on a plane, albeit we still use them, we still sell them, they're still very, very functional, but then taking up a huge part of the estate of the desk. So if you spent a lot of money on receptionists, you want to be as clean and tidy and crisp as possible. Most people use a PC and a laptop now. Have a handset, working with a piece of software, it will look better on the eye. It will give the receptionist, without a shadow of a doubt, a lot more information. So you can see, as you'll see in the demonstration, when people are on the phone, off the phone, when they're off hook, they have live information at their fingertips. And inevitably, that will provide them with a faster response times. It's not only about the impression when people come into your business, it's the impression when people phone your business as well that you're judged upon. So answering the phones quickly and effectively and dealing with them quickly is all about making that customer journey experience the best it can be. And that's what the MyCalls console will allow you to do. It allows the receptionist to take some control as well over the extensions, and you'll see that. So the receptionist can, within a click, generate an email, can put somebody in a do not disturb check, can take the presence, can put the calls into call forward to a colleague or to another, to a voicemail box. So really, the software really endorses a better way of working, in my opinion. And I'm hopefully going to convince you right now when we get into the live demonstration. So here we are on the SV9100 and the SL2100 MyCalls console. Okay, and my intentions is to show you how super slick this application is. We can actually measure and monitor. The most important thing is that incoming call aspect to its conclusion. More about that when we start to bring calls in. And equally important is the visibility of our extensions. So we're going to start focusing in this area here. This is our extensions within our demonstration suite. Now, you can have 100 buttons on the page, and those buttons can do different things, which I'll get to shortly. And you can have up to 10 action pages or tabs, whatever you prefer to call them, and you can design them in your own way. If you want them alphabetically, or department, you can do it. It's very, very easy, but let's use the dem room for the purpose of this demonstration. So visibility is key for the receptionist to see what our extension status is. So when we take that incoming call, we can transfer it quickly and effectively. So you can actually see that Mike is on a do not disturb, is in do not disturb at this moment in time. So if an incoming call was to come in for Mike, obviously he doesn't want to be disturbed. So instantly the receptionist can then choose what she wants to do with that call. You could put through to Mike's voicemail. You could see if one of Mike's colleagues is available and transfer the call to them very, very easily. And we'll focus on those options very shortly. Now, if you want to dial an extension, not a problem at all. Various ways. You can use the handset that the console's associated with, the keyboard, yet again, which is mostly the preferred option because receptionists can just use the keyboard extremely quickly, as opposed to clicking and dial, because you've got to be precise and on that particular button. So we're just going to dial Mark's ST500, and you can see that it's gone off hook, and you hear my phone ringing in the background, and I'm going to answer the call. So you can actually see now that the extension status gives me an advantage, because I'm not going to transfer an incoming call to Mark or to Mike or even the receptionist, because they're already doing something. We don't want to double handle that call. What I mean by that, some receptionists don't have visibility, so they will phone the extension that the caller wants to talk to, and then get an engaged tone, then have to go back to the call and say, sorry, that Dave's on the call at the moment. Can I put you through to somebody else? The receptionist needs to take calls and deal with them quickly and effectively, and visibility will allow that without a shadow of a doubt. Okay, so we're just going to hang up this call, and yet again, you can use the handset, you can use this bar here, or you can use the icon, either or. Okay, so we just hang up that call while we talk about a few other keys. We've got buttons here that are external numbers, so we're talking to people on a regular basis. Mark's mobile, for example, I can press that. System will dial 9, followed by his mobile number, and connect. Okay. We can have buttons for features of the telephone system. So the telephone system has 8 levels of day and night service, and if you want the operator to control that, you can do that. It can automatically happen in the background, so at a certain time of a certain day, we can change the waveform of where the calls need to be answered. Not a problem at all. 8 levels of day and night service, and what we can do with incoming callers is extremely nimble and flexible. So yet again, you could override those night services if you so wish. One night service, that is extremely useful, because yet again, we're talking about being effective and efficient and really uber professional for that incoming call. We have a fire evacuation process or test every month, where we have the alarm goes off and we have to evacuate the building and meet at the end of the drive to have all the registration and all that. So what happens with our telephone system? Well, the receptionist has a button that says emergency mode, and the system can change the way it works. So when that incoming caller happens, guess what? We say, hi, thanks for calling NEC. We're currently conducting our fire evacuation process. It will be approximately 10 minutes. If you'd like to leave a message, please do so, or phone back in 10 minutes, or something like that, okay? But the good thing is there that those callers know exactly what's going on, as opposed to getting ringing. And if you're like me, after 7 rings, I'll probably phone a competitor, okay? But if I'm being told what's happening, that makes my life a lot easier. So I'll let the NEC representative expand on that incoming call type situation and the 8 levels of day and night service. The other frustration thing that we find with receptionists is sometimes they are answering calls, customers that say, I'm on your website and I can't find this, that, and the other. Now, the worst thing that a receptionist can do is having to minimize their application to go off and get onto Google Chrome, onto the website, and try and understand what's going on. Not in our instance, because we have a button that could be anything. In this instance, it's our website, okay? And you can see here, if I just bring it into view a little bit more, this is the NEC website. So now I'm seeing what the customer's seeing, and hopefully I can give her the relevant answers that she's looking for. It could be a Word document, it could be an Excel spreadsheet, it could be a PDF, whatever you want. You could put it under a button, as we've done now. We just put Google under a button. So not only that, we can have some features of the telephone system, and as I said, we can actually put them into different tabs if you so wished. Now let's have a look at the incoming call element. Now I'm going to bring an incoming call in off my mobile phone, and you'll already notice that I'm on the Dem Room tab. But in some instances, our receptionist will take calls for every department that we have within our business. The forefront of our business is our receptionist. So I'm going to phone in on the sales DDI number, and you watch this area right here. So I'm bringing in the call in right now. I'm going to answer it. Okay, I'm going to answer the call. Now, have a look here. You can see that we've gone from the Dem Room tab to the Sales tab. Why has that happened? Well, this caller has phoned in for a sales inquiry. they have phoned the sales number. So to make life easy for the receptionist, we have brought everybody in the sales department to the front. So instantly the receptionist is able to see their status. So she can instantly transfer it to James, etc., etc. Okay, so how good is that? Having the relevant tabs open depending on the DDI number called. I'm going to bring another call in right now off another application. Okay, and you'll see that the call is going to come in into this area here. So this is where the calls are waiting, and they'll stack up, and if you get too many calls, you'll get a scroll button up and down here that allows you to scroll down. I don't have to, if I didn't want to, take this call next. I could take the second, the third, I can take them in whatever order I want. But if you have the advanced license, you can create a VIP queue. So you may want to put all your directors or some of your key customers in that VIP, and it always brings them to the top of the list to avoid scrolling up and down. Okay. What we also can do with this call right now, I could just drag and drop it if I wanted to, even though it's waiting to be answered, onto Mark's extension, because this could be Mark's wife. Okay, and you can see that the Mark has answered the call because it's disappeared from here. Okay, now if we was to put this call on hold, okay, we'll put it on hold like so. You can see it's in this position here. Now the reason why we do that is because we can instantly see where that call is. You can notice now it's disappeared because it's come back up here. Now, I'm sure at some stage you have found an organization, you have been put on hold, and they've forgotten about you, okay? Which is extremely frustrating if you've been holding for 10 minutes. You end up putting the phone down and phoning them again, or phoning a competitor. What I'm getting at here, we can see the call at every element up until its conclusion. Okay, so if we were to transfer this to extension and they answer it, it will disappear. So yeah, again, that is demonstrating the visibility of the incoming call. So we know what calls we've answered, we know what calls are waiting, those calls that have been transferred or parked or being held. We've got visibility up until it's concluded, i.e. transferred and dealt with. As soon as an extension takes that call, it will disappear from here. Okay, so you do not lose sight of that incoming call. How good is that? Okay, so we're just going to hang up this call right now. No, in fact, let's go back to the demo room here, because I want to pick on James. I want to transfer it to James. Things I can do with this call now, I can do a blind transfer. So I'm just going to throw it over to James, and hopefully James is in at his desk. So I'll just do that. And you can see here, it's gone into this state. It's ringing. After a period of time, James doesn't answer. It's gone red, and we can make it every time into this area here to be answered. Now, the ideal information that you have in front of us, it gives us a history of where that call has been. Okay, and that's very important if you've got 2 or 3 receptionists, because somebody may have transferred a call, then taken another call, and then in this situation, that call has come back to receptionist number 2. She doesn't want to put it to James again because we know James didn't answer the first call. Okay, so having that history of where that call has gone. What else can we do with this call? Let's say James is not there. The caller doesn't want to go to his voicemail. He doesn't want to talk to anybody else. He's quite a stubborn person. What I could do is do a templated email. So I'd say, please call. Guess what's going to happen? It's open up an email. It's put the email of James in there, and we can make this all personalized. But the important thing here, look, it's actually imported the caller's number. So please call that number, Mark's mobile, thanks, operator. Didn't have to write it down on a scrap piece of paper. Didn't have to open up an email and import that information manually. You could do if you wanted to. That goes without saying. But the idea is to pull that telephone number from that user into the email. Now, if the customer's not providing their CLI number, Okay, or we have the telephone number, but we don't have a name. Obviously, that will be imported, but the withhold the number, it won't give you that. So you're going to have to make sure that if a telephone number is not presented, to ask the caller what number is best to call them on. So going back here, I could right click. What else could I do? I could transfer into his voicemail. I could send him an instant message. Now, if James has got an application called MyCalls Desktop or MyCalls Desktop Lite, we could have an instant message. It could be, can you give your wife a call? There's a parcel in reception, or whatever the history or the conversation that you want to have in an instant message. Do you fancy going out to lunch? Would you like a cup of coffee, etc., etc.? So various ways we can actually communicate with James. Okay, let's hang up that call right now by either pressing the icon, putting the phone down, or using the keyboard. Going back to James, so I'm going to right click now, and of course the situation's changed because we haven't got that incoming call to deal with. So I could dial him, I could have an instant message, I could email him, I could be a templated email. Quite a popular one over the Christmas period would be, there's a parcel in reception. You can build up those templates as many as you want. Okay, I can do features or set features on James extension if I wanted to do that. I could put him in a do not disturb mode, which could be all calls or external, internal, and I have the ability to obviously cancel that. If James wants his calls forwarding, yet again, we can do that. Obviously, James can do it himself, but a receptionist can have that level of control as well. Another feature that's quite nice that I want to focus on is presence. Okay, so James has phoned in this morning and says he's not coming in because he feels unwell. Okay, he's got a bit of man flu. So what we can actually do here, the receptionist could put a present status against James that he's off sick. James has suggested he's going to be back on the 30th. He's got man flu and he's having all his calls forwarded to his voicemail. So if I click on OK now, you can see that James's icon has changed. And if I hovered over it, you would be able to see that James is off and his due back date, and even man flu. Okay, now everybody that has a MyCalls desktop application or a desktop Lite will be able to see the status. But to activate the presence from James' point of view, if he had to do it on his own behalf, he'll need to have a MyCalls desktop application. Yet again, the NEC representative will expand on the different varieties of MyCalls desktop applications. So the receptionist can put a state of presence there. Let's turn that off. Put it into the back of, is back here now in the office. Now, some of your colleagues may not want a MyCalls desktop application, but they like that idea of presence. We do have an Outlook plugin, and when you purchase the console, you do get some plugins for you to use. So, yet again, it works within Outlook. You can set your presence in the same way as we just did here. So, if I just bring it open it up again. So, this opens up in Outlook. I can set whatever presence I want. I'm going on holiday, what time I'm due back, where am I going, all that, where do I want the calls to go to. Not a problem at all. Okay, either a receptionist can set it, you can set it within Outlook, and when it comes to that time, that date, it will synchronize with the console and change your present state. So presence is absolutely fantastic, because now if a caller comes in and say, can I talk to James, and he's actually on holiday, she'll be able to say, oh, sorry, James is on holiday until the 28th of October. Is there anybody else that can help? Can I put you through to his voicemail? You've got precise information to present to that incoming caller. Okay, so presence is really good. Just to finish up on, you could have 100 buttons here, and you could have 100 marks, 100 Amy's, whatever. But if you want a quick search for people, not a problem. So if I just use Mark as an example, I'll just put M in there. You can see that we've got main DDI number, Marie, Mark. Put A, you can see now was no different. Put R, now you've got Marie and Mark. If I put K, so you've got all Mark's telephone numbers right there at our fingertips, which is really, really easy. Certainly if you've got, quite a few people with, the same name. Okay, so yet again, a quick search fire, and I could obviously dial Mark on either of its extensions. Okay. These icons here, as you notice, as we was bringing calls in, we could put them on hold, we can transfer, we can set up a conference, we can park calls. You probably wouldn't put a do not disturb and a call forward on the console, but yeah, I've demonstrated that you can if you wanted to. So if the receptionist is going to lunch and you don't have anybody coming down to the reception area, but you just want to forward your calls to somebody in the business that wants to stay at their desk, why the receptionist goes for lunch, you can say, okay, I want all the calls to go to extension 202. Click on OK. Any incoming call now that comes into the business will ring on extension 202. Okay, so you can actually see that the call has been forwarded to extension 202. Okay, just right here. So we'll cancel that call forward just by clicking that button there, and we're back to its normal state. So visibility of the extensions is a massive advantage. If people are busy, you can right click and you can see all those options. You can send an instant message if they've got an application to receive it. You could go to their voicemail, you could camp onto them, and all those sort of things. The left-hand side was the journey of that incoming caller. We've all been in that experience where we've been put on hold and forgotten. In our instance, because we've got visibility of that journey of that incoming call, so if we put them on hold, we've put them on park, and we've answered them, and we've got calls waiting, you will see them up until either we've transferred them, or we've dealt with them, or unfortunately, if the person's put the phone down, they will disappear from here. So with that said, let's go back and have a summary. So that was a MyCalls console working on an SV9100 and the SL2100. So some key takeaways, some summary body points here. So easy to use. Okay, so yeah, it was point and click. I could see when my colleagues were on the phone. I could see when a call was coming in and it was my wife, and the receptionist didn't want to see or answer that call. She can just drag it on to my extension, and hopefully that is increasing that incoming call scenario, getting them answered as quickly as possible. So decreasing the incoming call handling times has to be a good thing for any business. Multiple operators positions, you can buy one license, of course you can, but it only can be accessed by one person at a time. So if you do share the duties of the receptionist, you can share that license, and of course the login credentials. The individuals can have their console laid out in any particular way, shape or fashion that suits them. Okay, if you want to have multiple operators at any one time, you just buy the additional licenses. Okay. Now, one of the biggest parts of the feedback we've had from end users is not only just the ease of use, but the choice. They continue to use the phone when they wish to do so. They could use the icons within the console, as I've shown you how we answer calls and hold and transfer and park and all those sort of things. But equally, and probably more importantly, receptionists are extremely good at multitasking. So they can use their keyboard without even looking at it. So by entering the enter key, they answer the call. They click it twice and it will put the phone down. They want to transfer it. They can do it all on the traditional keyboard of that PC. You may wish to create some call priorities for VIP customers. Now, this allows those individuals to go to the top of the queue. You may recall that when we had a call come in, albeit I only brought one call in, if any other calls that are coming into the console at that point, they'll be stacked. Okay, and they'll be stacked in the order they've been received in. Now, if you've got a managing director that's phoned in, let's say 5th, we can create a VIP queue with the additional license to bring the managing director to the top, so he'll be the next one to answer. You can still answer the calls as and when they've arrived in whatever position you want, but if you are answering a lot of calls, it's a lot easier to create a VIP queue as opposed to scrolling up and down those stacked calls, if you like. As I've already mentioned, the call control and giving power to the receptionist is extremely important. She can put call forwards, do not disturb, presence, email, call history, all within a click for a colleague that's probably left his desk to go into a meeting and his phone's just ringing out and annoying everybody. So yeah, again, we can forward that. We can put it in a do not disturb state. We can forward it to the voicemail of the user if you wanted to, as you've seen in the live demonstration. The search window, yeah, again, you may have contacts. The receptionists seem to have contacts for everybody. They're very lucky. They probably have, not only the internal number, the DDI number, they may have their own home number, they may have their own private email addresses. Yeah, again, all that information can be gained and imported into the MyCalls console. And equally, some customers want to also measure and manage how well the receptionist positions are actually doing. And within MyCalls Manager, which is another application, and the MyCalls Call Center, either one of those, it will provide you all the reporting that you'll need to understand how well your receptionists are performing for your business. So it just leaves me to say thank you very much for your time. If you do have any questions or any suggestions, please consult with your NEC representative or your NEC channel manager. We're only too willing to help. My name is Mark Rotherham. Thank you for your time. It's very much appreciated. Have a great day. Bye-bye.